Hey there, YouTube. It's me, Two Finger, and today I wanted to talk about 7070H, 7 hydroxymitragynine. 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 7 hydroxymitragynine. It is basically, it's morphine. So this product has been showing up in all of the places where you would get Delta 8 or uh, smoke shops, gas stations. It seemed to me like 6 months ago there was some other kind of gas station heroin that was going around. Is this the same thing? I don't know. I do know that I looked into this just in the past couple of days because a guy who calls himself Goblin, YouTuber, did some videos on this, and he had a vape. It was a 7.0 vape, so it's you're vaping, but it's an opiate. Really scary stuff. And that's the thing; they keep coming out with more and new stuff. And if you look at the package, they never once warn you. They don't come out and say this is addictive. This is, this is really powerful. It's like morphine. And they're putting it in pills, they're putting it in powders, they're putting it in liquids. The marketing is incredible. They were called Dozo, like doze off, nodding, Dozo brand Roxy's. Roxy is street word used for Oxycontin. And then they had two different, one was cherry and one was watermelon, and they were uh, uh, cough syrup products. So you could make lean with this 7.0. And the one that got me the most, there was these little pills. They were like capsules. Cheech and Chong brand Ludes with a Z. Cheech and Chong brand Ludes. So a Quaalude is like a downer, like a Xanax, like a barbiturate, like it's like a alcohol pill. So this is like a 12 pack. It's the effect of drinking 12 beers, but in a pill. Really appealing drug experience. The only thing is, Cheech and Chong Ludes, it's not a downer. It's morphine. So, how you can market this stuff and sleep, that's a whole nother issue. Was it a better time in the 50s when we had a patriarchy? There was a church, there was a father, he'd beat your ass if you did something stupid. Yeah, maybe there was stuff like, transsexual people, if they would go have their parade, they'd get the shit kicked out of them. But they weren't selling our kids nicotine salts and Cheech and Chong ran loose. So I I'm not on here saying that the good old days when people were bigots and racists and sexist was better. I'm not saying that. I'm making a joke. The reason I'm making this video is hopefully somebody watching this that would have mistakenly picked up one of these products out of curiosity and looked at it and saw, oh, it's this like kratom, um, because that's not the whole truth. Anytime one of these things, like on the packaging, like I said, they sell it. There's powders, there's fake needles, there's like all kinds of different. There's vape with this stuff in it. They're selling it liquids, and it's none of the packaging does it warn you like this has a real high probability that you're going to get addicted to this. And it's like physically addictive, like it's impossible to get off of it without getting really sick. So the reports of people who've looked into this, like I saw these posts of people saying I work in a smoke shop and people are coming 4 times a day to re-up on this stuff. And we're selling more of this product than any of the other products they've ever sold. So this is something, Petey's making a video on it now. You're going to see this in the next couple of months as being a big problem, and they'll probably end up banning it, like they do with bath salts and everything else. So I'm just making this video as a warning. I mean, obviously, don't go to the gas station to buy your drugs to get your fix. If it says on it, you're taking this product at your own risk and you can't come, you're willingly taking it on your own volition and you can't come after us, no matter how much it fucks you up, you should know immediately, you should know better that don't ever buy anything like that type of product, because whatever is in it, trust me, it's something that's coming from China. It's where they don't have your best interest in those drug labs. And I saw where there was another active ingredient that they like phyllominoline or some other thing. It was like, not only does it have 7-0, but there's this shit in there too. Really make sure that you're gonna, end up jumping off of a bridge. So let's not get our morphine from the convenience store. Okay, guys? Can we not vape opiates? Let's not. And like, it's the way that they kind of slide this stuff in here and sneak in. And it's just, I wonder, like, how could you sleep at night? I mean, obviously, people are greedy and they only care about one thing is, money. I mean, they think it's funny, selling to someone else's children, obviously. I don't understand it. But for years, I was addicted to all kinds of stuff. Now I'm pretty much free except for my pain medication. But I was a hopeless nicotine addict, smoker, and I vaped. And I looked into that. I had a lot of intent. And the way I went about it was, if I don't say for myself, was smart. I went to a trade show. I went around and gave a spiel at every place. And I got a couple of business cards. And I got a bunch of free e-liquid. And then I got a job that was doing reviews of the e-liquid on my YouTube channel. Then I got a job from a company, was a mail order vape shop, and he was sending me their products for review every month. So I got all that stuff for free, and I made my own e-liquid. So I knew what I was putting in it, and I reduced the level of nicotine every time I made a new batch. So I was tapering real gradually over the period of 1 year I vaped. At the end of that year, the last batch of nicotine, the last batch that I made was, I was dropping it down. I was at, like, when I started, I was at 6. And then I went down to 3 in that second week. So for a year, I went from 3 and I was dropping it down by a half milligram. And when I hit 0, I sold all my vape stuff. So that's what I mean by I was smart, meaning I didn't go in the theater and chunk clouds. I didn't go in Toys R Us and chunk clouds. I didn't grow a big neck beard, and I wasn't a vape culture guy. I just did it as a tool to quit smoking. So I use it as a smoking cessation device. And people know about that. More recently, I read about this company called Juul Pods, Jul. So they made these things. They were little plastic disposable vapes that you could get. They were non-refillable, disposable. This is a product it's marketed for the hood and it's marketed for little kids. So it's small, it's easy to stash. It's got a real small amount of active ingredient in it, and they're colorful, and the flavors are all berry, blueberry, whip. They're all flavors for kids. And then what they did, they reprocessed the nicotine and they made it into a nicotine salt, which is like crack cocaine. It's like purifying. See, when I was vaping, I was just vaping e-liquid with straight nicotine juice in it. So when I stopped smoking and started vaping, there was a week there where I was crawling the fucking walls, no matter how much I vaped, because there's a difference between smoking a cigarette and a vape, and it won't give you that hit, that intense nicotine rush. So that's unfortunate. And they made this product called nicotine salts, which is actually stronger than smoking a cigarette. And they put that in all the Juul pods, which are marketed for children. So here are these kids who want to be cool, and they think, oh, this isn't like smoking cigs. This is just like vaping, and vaping's not as addictive. So I'll be fine if I get this Juul. And the first hit they take of nicotine in their life, because for these kids, it's easier for them to order a Juul pod over the internet than it is for them to get a pack of cigarettes. It's a lot easier. So there's a whole generation of kids, the first nicotine hit they got was a Juul pod, and it gave them a fucking bell ringer. And they got a horrible, like, lifetime nicotine addiction that they can't shake because Juul pods. And that's what I'm talking about as we go further marching into the future. You have to be more and more using the noggin and, not so fast there, cowboy, when you're in line at the where you buy your lottery tickets in pornography. You think, oh, here's this, I used to get 5 hour energy here, and nothing bad ever happened from that. Let me get this 7-0 little thing, whether it's the pills or the vape or the Strong brands ludes. I'm here to tell you this is morphine. It's unbelievably addictive. Nowhere on the package does it mention any of this. It just has a little warning. Hey, you're taking this at your own risk. You can't come back and sue us no matter what happens to you after you take it. This is on you. If you ever see any kind of warning like that, or if you ever hear of any, like, with me, I was going to go order some gummies and there's this 7-0, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll try that. What is it? Is it for pain? Is it some kind of new weed? Like I said, I've got Delta 8, there's Delta 9, there's HHC, there's all kinds of different THC extracts now. Diamonds, there's diamond encrusted cookies, there's cake, I don't know, blueberry, whip, this chronic, what is it, Crush, I don't know. I don't know any of that. I know skunk weed, that was good stuff. But I looked up the 7-0, and it's like, it's an opiate. It's like morphine. So I figured that would be important enough for me to share with you guys. Pass the word around. And like this type of information, it's almost like if you got a nephew and he's curious about drugs, I don't know what to tell him. It seems to me that there was a generation of kids who benefited from the boomers. Like they learned from the boomers, like you can't do coke, can't do heroin, weed, and mushrooms. If you're gonna do drugs, that's strong enough, and it should, if you have to, maybe take an X pill once or twice in your life. But you can't be doing that stuff. You just can't. What's the point of taking the X pill if you can only take that once or twice in your life? If it's that good, as they say it is, you're gonna want to do it every day. I mean, it's the way we're wired. So there was a certain generation that benefited from that information. And I hope that can get carried on and people can get wise about this stuff, that really a 1/4 gram of shrooms is all you need. You don't need to take that Terrence McKenna 5 grams of complete darkness. You're gonna jump in front of a 18-wheeler 5 grams. You know, you're going to need to turn a light on. So that's how I feel about it. You know, there's that thing, if the kid's curious about drugs, well, you need to have a talk with them. And that talk has to be weed and shrooms. Even the caffeine pills I take, that shit, it's horrible. It's a horrible drug. A quarter of a pill is all I can handle on that, you know? So when it comes to addiction, that's it's like it's like being in a jail that you can't get out of. And there's a good chance you're going to end up in jail anyway. So, or dead. It's nothing to mess around with. Look into this 7-0. It's evil, 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 evil stuff. And just don't touch it. That's my advice to you. You guys spread the word about this stuff. This when every time I do a drug update, it should be, important for you. You should know who in your life you would need to tip off about this. A younger guy or girl, maybe, who's curious about drugs, who does stupid shit like ordering a jewel pod off the internet without first looking into it and finding out you wouldn't ever want to take a hit off of a nicotine salt. That'd be the last thing you would want to do. Vaping, maybe, but only after you're already a full-blown nicotine addict. Go get into vaping as something to blow off some stress. You know what I mean? It's gonna cause you a lot of heartbreak and a lot of stress when you're strung out on this shit and your body just keeps demanding more. So it's nothing to play around with. Addiction is the worst. It's the absolute worst hell. So be smart, be safe, and think about who you need to let them know. Goblin did a couple videos. Goblin is a YouTube drug guy, and he did a couple really good videos on this. I'm sure you're going to hear more about this in the coming months. But and again, I don't make videos like this so I can, hey guys, smash the like button. It's not. I could give a shit. That being said, I think I said what I needed to say. I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on this, but what I do know is enough to tell you. If you need to look into it anymore, go ahead. But trust me, you're going to find out everything I said is true. This is really bad news. So think about it. There probably is somebody you could tip them off about this. Maybe you'd end up saving them a lot of grief in the long. Try to keep warm, hug your pets, and peace.